Welcome, and hi to Mo, who I already have here. You are muted. I'm
No.
trying to
Oh,
no,
I
there.
am unmuted now. I muted because I was trying to tell Mr. Mo where a hose might be. It's it's the one bad thing about having a very large house is that and past me always thinks future me is gonna know where I put things, and
Hmm.
future me is always still a hot mess, so I have no idea where I put that.
Hmm. So where was I? Yeah, this for our audience is part one in a
Yes.
series of four. We are doing this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Today it is the murders, what was happening at the time, and the immediate time after, like February, March, maybe April. And Mo, I know, have covered this case for quite some time. Maybe not. You have covered it on your channel, and you have covered it. Well, you're local. You live just a few hours away.
Yes, I live about 2 hours away, and what I am hoping to do, should my leg be kind of awesome, is this weekend, I am hoping to take a drive up to Delphi, and I will not be going on Murder Bridge, and I call it Murder Bridge because if you have seen pictures of this bridge, if you Google this bridge, it is not for the faint of heart. Even if I were fully able-bodied and in my
Hmm.
most graceful state, I would not attempt this bridge. But I will be trying to at least go to the area and walk around if, um, at least before the trial. My goal is this weekend, but at least before the trial, we have until January. Uh, they do have a full-on passenger, or a new, um, pedestrian bridge. So they do have a fully built, like, very nice pedestrian bridge. This is
Hmm.
the other one that the kids hang out with, so if you have an option between the nicely built one and, danger zone, the kids are gonna go on
Hmm.
danger zone.
Yeah. I am currently we are dual streaming this, so I will be
Yes.
posting Mo's stream stream on the top of the chat, so you can go over
Thank
there and
you.
give her a thumbs up.
I
And
do have a playlist, I have been covering this for a while, there wasn't a whole lot to go on. There are other channels that have been on this for, like, day 1 and have gone into all of the, podcast into, the multitude of podcast suspects and things like that, the Daniel Nations and kind of that thing. Having 6 kids and all of that, I have only kind of skimmed the surface, and I
mm,
wanted to stay on what the legal kind of things, what when especially when they got a suspect, I wanted to stay on what was going to be covered under the law. Yeah, I will
mm,
definitely be looking at the bridge from far, far away.
yeah, and don't go into this stream of water. And
Oh, no, that's a hard pass. Look,
yeah,
I'm taking Fry, my cowardly dog, with me, so even if I had any predilection, the
mm,
only person who would go on the bridge would be the feral one, and I'm not taking him because he would go on the bridge.
mm. Yeah, your youngest one would definitely test the
He'd jump
waters,
off
so
the
to speak.
bridge
Yeah,
and dive into the water.
yeah. And also, this is streamed on Rumble, my Rumble channel, and I will just. The most important for me here is to cover this case so everybody gets a basic understanding what happened from 2017 to today in 4 separate episodes, and to get people over to Mo's channel to subscribe to her and stuff like that, so she can get monetized anytime soon. Because you should be getting close to the hours needed, aren't you?
I have the hours needed. I'm getting close to the subscribers because I think they changed it to 500, I believe, at least for me. We have to get justice for Denmark because Baker still needs to have, I think, 1,000. So I'm getting
Mm,
close. I need 500 and I'm at 383. So awesome.
mm,
Thank you guys so much. Um, I appreciate it because you know what? Having 6 kids that rarely listen to me and a dog that doesn't, having 383 people who somewhat wanna listen to me is
mm.
awesome.
Yeah. And I see that Vodka Blood is over at Rumble. Hi, Vodka Blood. And I see some, yeah, I see some people are over at your
Yeah, I
channel.
have to learn how to, cross stream with Rumble. I'm learning all the things, but I'm tech
Mm,
special, so
mm,
it's taking me a bit.
yeah. But hey, what, whatever it takes, and so you can get all the numbers needed. Because
Yes, so thank
I
you
think
guys
I,
very much.
mm, yeah, yes, in the US 500, but 1,000 everywhere else. And yeah, it's weird, but I guess they YouTube calculated that, oh, there's a lot of people between 500 and 1,000. Maybe this will help them get on the way.
Yeah, and, you know, I'm proud to be part of a pilot program.
Yeah.
Listen,
Okay.
anything to tell my mother I'm doing something normal-ish.
Mm. And
Real job,
eh,
ma. It's a
yeah, and so Mr. Mo can get deductibles on his spendings.
true, true. If I buy
Mm.
one more tumbler, though, I may be excommunicated.
Mm. Okay, but to start off, for your personal recollection, 2017.
Yes.
Half of your kids were, well, no, you already have all of your
I
kids.
had
Six.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the youngest was only 1 and just becoming feral. So
Okay.
he was just
So
becoming a Viking.
he started crawling, and yeah,
He had
then he
only
took
knocked
off.
out 1 tooth. It was a magical time.
But regarding this, what do you remember from around 2017?
Around 2017, it was a really kind of a big shock. I mean, what we learned from the press, you've got to imagine, and let me see if I can pull it up. So, what you have is Delphi, let's see if is a very small town. You've got a population of 2,893, and that's in 2010. It's right north of where I live, kind of somewhat south of Chicago, but there is nothing there. So, you have less than 3,000 people there. Everyone knows everyone else. It's also the county seat for Carroll County. So that means that you're going to have your county courthouse, your jail,
Mm,
every sort of your municipal building, all of that, your high school. You're going to have the Wabash, your Erie Canal, but it's not going to be a bustling metropolis. You might have a Walmart.
mm,
So the thing that they did have was the Monon Trail or, like, this sort of wilderness area that, you know, you could kind of hike and have that kind of thing there. So, you had 2 girls abducted, broad daylight. We didn't have the cell phone footage at first, um, and killed. And I mean, this was a local sheriff, everyone knew everyone, you had volunteer firefighters. And we figured, okay, it was you had the juxtaposition of it's either it has to be someone from out of town or someone knew them.
mm,
So you had those kind of competing worries of was this a
mm.
stranger or someone
Yeah,
had to know them?
yeah. And Delphi, is that close to any of the major highways where there are a lot of trucks going by?
It is close to, so Indiana is the crossroads of the country, so you have 70, I believe you have 465 that circles, the capital. So if you Indiana or Indianapolis is the capital city in kind of the center, and then you have 465 that goes around. I'm terrible with directions, but you have major highways that intersect all over Indiana, and you have major traffic. So it had a lot of shades of the West Memphis 3 already. You had a wooded area next to highways, fairly rural, 2 girls that went missing. They didn't release anything about the crime scene other than kind of cryptic mentionings of the shack, sort of. It We just weren't given a lot of information. We had a choppy kind of cell phone thing, and then very vague, like, "If someone you know is acting weird, let us know." And
Mm.
then it kind of went radio silent for several years.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's so strange when I was searching through the articles in a few newspapers, and there is a big gap between 20s in the immediate 2017 up until 2019, uh, which I call, and then it was silent again. So that will be for tomorrow's episode when we talk about the silence that lasted between 20 for 5 years, more or
Yeah,
less.
it and then it really allowed kind of a cottage industry of very successful, very smart, and I'm not knocking them, but a cottage industry of sort of internet sleuths who found a lot of links, like, one of the girls was talking to someone on Instagram, uh, Joey Shots, I believe, who turned out to be not an Instagram model, but a 500-pound man, who was on the registry,
Oh,
and his father was also on the registry.
oh,
So,
keep it in the
y
family.
yeah, and it led to a lot of people looking at the sketches, finding people on registries,
Mm,
a lot of suspects. Basically, the internet and people were left because of the lack of information that was coming from the
mm,
investigators. They were left to fill in the blanks themselves. I mean, you have people poring over this little ream of footage and making entire computer graphics animations, trying desperately to solve this to get justice for these girls because the state is so tight-lipped and will not give any information. It was radio silent. I mean,
mm.
it was very odd because even other cases, it seems like even with the Natalie Holloway case or something, you seem like you got at least little breadcrumbs. This
Yeah,
case, you really got nothing, and it always struck me as very odd.
yeah. And for I know there are a lot of uh, uh, I know Baker is streaming, I'm streaming, David is streaming, Jeff is streaming. So for you who are in here for the rewatch crew, I will leave the link to Mo's channel in the description, uh, so you can hustle over there after you give me the views, so we can get a proper introduction to this case to as many people as possible, because I think we are, or at least well, you definitely, and now we are among the few who have actual interest in the entirety, just not the flavor of the day in this
Yeah.
case. So yeah,
Well,
and so,
I think it makes sense. I think it it makes sense to go back to the beginning because it you have to juxtapose how little we got in the beginning with this bombshell
mm,
because it really shows if not a coordinated effort to disregard this information,
Mm.
but a coordinated effort to not share
Yeah.
and to maybe hinder this investigation. Because I guarantee you, had they said, "Look, we are looking for a group of people.
Yeah.
We don't believe that this was done by one person." That's all
Mm.
they needed to say
Mm.
is, "Hey, we think this
Yeah.
might have been a group of people."
Yeah, and not even that. They can say that we currently we believe this is a sole individual, but we don't rule out multiple individuals. So, have you seen anything? That would be the normal way of getting information in,
Yeah.
and that's really peculiar because there are some really strange things about this, and
Well, and we might have to ask Nicholas or not Nicholas, David, but I was not aware until it came up kind of in the memo in the depositions. I was unaware that you could tell the feds to basically screw themselves or go
yeah.
pound sand.
Mm.
I didn't think that you could just tell the feds like, "Hey, no, we don't want your con round here,"
Yeah.
and tell them to
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, and this is a lot of blame on the TV shows where they only show here comes the feds and they take over, and the locals have no saying in it. And that's not the case. If the local says bugger off, they will bugger off. Okay, it's all yours.
I
Because
have a
the
new
feds
bucket
have
list
other
thing
things to
now.
do, like framing people and yeah. And but I will want to. Well, the basic of this is two girls disappeared and was found. Abigail Williams, age 13, and Liberty German, age 14. So these are, according to an article at the time, I if they were 12 and 13 or 13 and 14, I don't really know, but
They
they
were
were,
yeah,
yeah. So to speak, not really preteens, but yeah, young teens.
yes.
Yeah, and there, yeah, and that was more or less everything everybody know. They found them, they were dead, and that's about all of the information. So I have here from WRTV, Katie Cox from 10 days later, February 24th, 2017, updated up to April 27th. Delphi, Indiana. Oh, the murder of two teen girls rocked the small town of Delphi. Hundreds of investigators from across the state has been working around the clock for the last several weeks to find their killer. So here they have killer as in a singular. Abigail Williams and Liberty German disappeared from on February 13th after being dropped off to go hiking near the Monon High Bridge. The bodies were found on a piece of private property less than a mile away the next morning. The evidence released to the public has been minimal, but here's what we know so far. Social media photos give snapshots of teens' location. On February 13th, the same day the teens were reported missing, a photo was posted to Snapchat by Libby showing William walking across the Monon High Bridge. The posting
And
was yeah.
what's so sad about this is this is a big moment for, Williams, for Abigail Williams. Uh, like me and like most normal people, Abigail Williams had never crossed the bridge because she was afraid of it, and this is kind of a rite of passage, for
Mm,
kids in Delphi. So, Abby what or Abby is, going across, and that's where they believe that she is taking pictures of her friend, kind of having this, rite of passage moment, and that's how they caught Bridge Guy. I
mm,
so, that's the sad part for me is here she is, really conquering her fear, you're capturing that last moment where she is doing something very brave for herself, um, in her last moments, and that's sad for me. It's a last day of freedom. They had an unexpected, free snow day. They
mm,
were they were dropped off by, I believe Liberty's older sister.
Mm.
So it's a very eerie kind of thing that you get to see these last moments, and I wish they would have just released the full footage. Uh, they what they released was bupkis, if you ask me, but that's
Yeah, and this is one of these that show photos that show up on these compilation videos on YouTube. Last eerie photos before, yeah, and
yeah.
so this should have been a happy moment where the day after or when they went back to school, look what I did. Good for you. She went back to her family. I finally did it. And instead, gone. And yeah, but I will keep reading this and you stop me anytime
Okay.
to insert information. The man on the bridge. Libby's phone turned out to be a valuable resource for clues on the teen's death. On February 15th, Indiana State Police released a photo that was taken from the device showing a man walking on the Delphi Historic Trail around the same time the girls were in the area. On February 19th, they named him as a suspect in the girls' murders. And let's see if I can put that up. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Share this instead. And hopefully I can play this without getting...
Local news is pretty good. I did a compilation of contemporaneous, the local news was pretty good, although you will see some of, if you go to my playlist on Delphi, you will see some of our very obnoxious local, news anchors.
Mm.
Sal and I were making fun of them, which I know you're shocked. Sal and I making fun of people.
Oh no.
Not us.
Unheard of.
Not a
Yeah. Okay, so I will risk it and see what they have to say. Dun dun dun.
Now at 6, breaking news. Investigators now say this man is the main suspect in the murder of 2 Delphi teens. We have team coverage of this huge new development from Delphi, and we begin with Chief
That
Call
is
6 investigator
Rafael
Rafael
Sanchez.
Sanchez.
Candace, good evening. That is the prime suspect, as you mentioned. And for investigators, the number one priority right now is to find who killed Abby Williams and Libby German, and also to bring peace to this community of 3,000. Call 6 Investigates. Paris Lavelle has been following the investigation from the very beginning. How did this person go from a person of interest to tonight being the main prime suspect?
Rafael, as you know, there's been a lot of tips coming in, and the police are also doing a lot behind the scenes, looking at technology and social media posts, and they now have enough evidence to call him the prime suspect.
Okay, so this is pictures, but we know that it was wasn't it always also a video?
They like loop together a couple frames of the photo. I don't.
Oh.
They did it really choppily, so I don't know if they actually had what the scuttlebutt or what the true crime community or whatever you call it, internet sleuths, is that Abby might have seen him coming, put the phone in her pocket, and was able to record him or something or other. What we never quite figured out and still hasn't been revealed yet is how he was able to subdue 2 girls. So we didn't know if he had a gun or a knife or other people, because that's what we couldn't. In my mind, I could never logic, okay, how did this one person, unless he had a gun or now what you need to know about this bridge is it's common custom in this bridge is if 2 people if you're both walking on it, you go one direction. So it is not tradition to do back and forth, to have cross traffic on it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And Here's something I find peculiar, because from these pictures, you can roughly estimate a guy's or a person's height, at least within a span, because you have the trees in the background, you have the actual bridge and stuff like that. So you could actually have, and then you have these particular clothings, the particular hat, the I don't know, the man bag around his waist.
Well, and that's what it took. It went off into crazy speculation conspiracy because then people said, okay, is he wearing a bunch of layers to make himself look bigger? Is he really skinny? Is he really portly? And that's just how he looks.
Yeah,
Is, it, it
yeah, and
instead
considering,
of,
mm,
yeah.
and
And
considering,
then, oh, sorry.
no, no worries, go ahead.
And then the way they looped it together, you couldn't quite get a sense of, does he have a limp? Is there a way that because of the way the railroad ties are put together, they
Mm,
wanted you to focus on his gait, but the way the railroad ties are put together, you're not walking in a natural gait. So
mm,
it doesn't make sense for them to say, focus on his gait.
yeah,
So
and,
it
and this
was
is
weird.
a wind jacket of sorts with,
Yeah.
I see a hood, maybe a hoodie under,
Yeah.
and even if it's sunny, it's still February 13th. I mean,
Yeah.
so layer of clothing can make you look bigger, and it seems like he has at least the windbreaker or wind jacket, a hoodie, and probably a t-shirt of sorts under it, and the cap and everything. And I don't see that resembling a 5'4" guy who weighs over 200 pounds.
Yeah, that's right now, that's not looking like a portly short man to me.
Mm.
Uh,
No, that looks like an average guy with a goatee.
yeah, so it just again, how things were disseminated. Yes, yes, Sal, it was John Fetterman.
Yeah.
It was Uncle Lurch. So,
Mm,
again, things were not disseminated well, so
mm,
again, it led to a lot of speculation, and people, I do believe, out of the goodness of their heart, they want this solved.
yeah.
They want justice for these girls, but because there was that void left
Mm,
with this dearth of clues, people really hurt. The gentleman that the girls' bodies his property abuts to, he's an older 70-year-old man. Now, did he lie about where he was going? Yes, but his life was basically ruined.
mm,
Uh, he was accused, and knowing what we do know about the crime scene now, there is no way that that 70-year-old man on oxygen, I believe, with a cane,
yeah.
unless he, used the power of Odin and Jesus, combined,
Yeah.
you know,
Mm,
it's just the police knew this at the time, and they let people drag other people through the mud too. That's what bothers me
mm.
is
Yeah. And let's go back to here. Okay. Audio clip down the hill released by police. To generate more tips, Indiana State Police released more clues found on Libby's phone. A suspect can be heard saying down the hill in an audio clip taken from the video file found on the phone. Police say it was recorded during what they believe were criminal activities. Let's see if it is in this. Come on. Dun dun dun. Let's see if it works better in
I
a
was about to say,
separate.
wait till tomorrow when we get to add guys to the audio clip. You'll be astounded.
Okay, but let's see. And this is quite misleading, because if this is a compilation of photos and then down the hill, you assume it's that guy.
It is. Again, the PR, this entire thing has been FUBAR from beginning to end.
Mm. Yeah, but let's see if we can play it.
Down the hill. 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 Down the hill.
Okay, so that is the Down the Hill audio. But if she was recording, where is her answer?
There are different theories. So I believe in the next episode, we will get, after several years break, we'll get guys down the hill. So they'll add a word, and they'll act like they've broken the case.
Okay, so all of a sudden this audio clip gets longer.
Yes, with the new sketch, we'll get guys down the hill. There is more to the recording. There is lore in the true crime community that has followed this case that she recorded the unaliving event. Now, that has never been proven, and I would think if the defense had that, they would have said something.
Yeah.
But it just
And here are the FBI investigators with the FBI have asked people to think back to the day the girls disappeared. Do you know anyone who exhibited strange behavior that day or in the days following their murders? They are looking for any who changed their appearance, cut their hair, shaved when they haven't in a while, or drastically changed the way they dress. Started abusing drugs or alcohol when they wouldn't have beforehand, has become anxious or irritable, took an unexpected trip after February 13th, cancelled an appointment or social engagement on February 13th for an unexplained reason, has obsessed over the Delphi murders and constantly talks about what they were doing on February 13th.
This is turn in your ex. This is turn in your ex-boyfriend list of crap. Had they said, hey, you know anyone that does weird crap in the woods together?
Yeah. And this also tells me that the local police did not inform the FBI, or they said, we need to have the information about the sticks and the blood from the public,
Well,
so that we can separate the tips from each other.
Well, that, and the state is claiming that they went to so Purdue is a fairly famous college in Indiana. They are saying that some anthropology cult, professor told them that this is totally not a cult, dude. But they have no receipts per se. They can't say the name of the professor. They can't say any of the professorness. So it's beginning to look a lot like bullshit around.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
and the defense brings that out, but it's again, they basically asked for every woman with the axe to grind to send in their ex-boyfriend. Like, has he drank? Has he not drank? Did he, think about something?
Yeah, and one of the questions should be: did any of these girls have a boyfriend? That should be an immediate question to the public or to Abby's parents. Did she have a boyfriend? Any of the girls? I mean, and now we know she had, of sorts. So also something, I mean, they don't need that tip, but it should be in the, I mean, one of the first questions they ask. Family members, dating profile. Even if they are 13 and 14, this is rural country. I grew up in rural country. Dating in your early teens, well, we don't call it dating over here. We just call it let's meet and see what happens. And when both at that age, just to clarify.
Well, now I will say that I think the Jordan Schatz thing only came out recently within the last year.
Yeah,
Uh, Now, so yeah, it's definitely
but the parents of the girls should have known, or would have known,
well,
and or the classmates.
yeah, and I think a lot of this so in small towns, what tends to happen is things get swept under the rug a
Mm,
lot. So, again, if you know the daughter's maybe doing something they're not supposed to, maybe it's a sore spot, you're not gonna question that,
mm,
or I if the girl's no one's gonna tell the mom that the girl was talking to, this Instagram model when she's passed away. It's gonna be a couple years later. Eh,
yeah,
just thinking, "That's not important right now, my friend's dead."
mm,
I mean, rightly or wrongly, so it's definitely things like that are gonna happen. There's gossip, a small town, but you're not gonna your laundry stays at home, if that makes
mm.
sense. So, while the small town might know about your dirty laundry, you're not gonna put that to the outsiders, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. To me, it does because where I grew up, because the closest police station was only opened during office hours and not on the weekends. So if you wanted anything done on the weekends, you have to call the main city an hour away. And so more often than not, things got handled. Um oh, you fondled that girl. Let's allegedly give him a good beating, and we're done with that. And if you do it again, then we will hold you down until the cops come.
Yeah.
Kind of way.
Yeah, so, I mean, and if they were trying to protect the family, then they might have said, "Hey, look, we have something it looks like one of the girls was talking to so and so on Instagram. We've checked it out. Nothing seems to have come from it, but we're not gonna put that out in the media right now."
Mm,
So it could be that they are not as screwed up as it looks, but they just haven't released a lot of this to the internet
mm.
for the family. So but unfortunately, in doing that, they also look like they have been withholding a lot of information, so it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. And we are at 40-minute mark. So again, for everybody who is new here, get over to Mo in the Deep End channel, you who are watching here, and give her a thumbs up and subscribe to her because she knows more about this case than will be portrayed in this four
Yeah,
part series.
these are kinda cliff notes. I go into greater detail. I have complex regional pain syndrome. I am covering the take care of Maya case, but I'm doing it slowly
Mm,
because I'm coming off of a flare-up. Y I
mm,
I will be covering the case, as it comes up in January. I will be covering it. I probably won't be in the courtroom because I would like to stream it.
mm. I can
And I
assign you as a court reporter.
and I honestly don't want to,
Mm,
take away a seat from anyone who is a family member or
yeah.
friend. And I don't make any judgment on any creator who wants to be in the courtroom. I think that's a great thing too, but I also know that I like my comfy chair.
Yeah. Yeah. Courtrooms are rarely made for comfort. Um,
True.
True. Okay. Oh, so let's continue with this. More than 16,000 tips have been reported to the Delphi tip line and email address since the investigation began. Indiana State Police say they are still actively investigating more than 500 people from those tips, which is the adult male population of that town. I mean, 2,000 inhabitants, family of four average. Yeah, that's the entirety of the male population of that town. Oh, investigators have asked for any evidence they can get to be fast tracked. However, they will not comment on what evidence they may have found. Which is, in retrospect, yeah, if they are investigating more than 500 people and they found weird writings and sticks informations, I mean, they should be able to, whoopsie, what does that look like? Let's write in weird F on Google and see what we find. Oh, it's a rune.
Well, even that, just as say we take the sticks out of it, say we take the blood out of it, say we take everything else out of it, you still have 2 individual girls who you would have had to quiet down, get across a river,
Mm.
allegedly unclothe, allegedly reclothe. That's still a lot of work to
Yeah.
do as one person. I don't understand how you can say one person did this.
Yeah.
Again, I am fluffy and I am less active than I used to be.
Mm.
But even on my most superwoman day, I don't know that I could have done that.
Yeah,
So
and I mean, I have, how many nieces do I have? A bunch. And they're teens. I mean, trying to control teenagers generally is hard. So yeah, there must have been some weapon or weapons or more people at hand. And
and
yeah,
I'm as I've said from the beginning, if they have on Richard Allen, if they have evidence, I am willing to go where the
yeah,
evidence leads me. The problem I am having with cases here lately is that they don't go where the evidence leads them. They find a person, they discard all the evidence that doesn't lead them to
yeah,
the person, and they pick the person. And
yeah,
that's what I'm having issues with.
yeah.
I'm
It's the
having
worst.
issues.
Yeah, it's the worst kind of cherry picking. Yeah. And let's see here. State police continue to stress the importance of reporting tips to authorities and not over social media to avoid speculation and confusion. Well, if you want to avoid speculation and confusion, you have to at least tell them what not to look for.
And I think that's where there's been sort of an adversarial relationship between kind of CrimeTube and the police. And
Mm.
because the crime tubers want to help, but they're given nothing, so they do kind of go all into tinfoil hattery with what they have, which
Yeah.
is in a genuine, heartfelt way to try to help this situation. And the police get irritated because they're like, this is not what you should be looking for. None of this is even halfway what we're supposed to be looking for. And
Yeah.
the crime tubers feel like the police have done nothing because they're getting,
Mm.
like you said, I mean, as you've looked into it, we have 2 and 3 year gaps of nothingness.
Yeah. Because with the biggest crime tube channels at the time, if they were wrong, the police could address. We know that this rumor has emerged, and we have to say this is not in our investigation. Just to start excluding things. You don't have to report minute details. You just have to say, okay, we know about this speculation and we are not currently working on that track. Okay, good. Now we know what to not look for, but nothing. But that's for tomorrow's. Investigation scope widened and reward offered. So the reward for information leading to an arrest in this investigation has surpassed $234,000. That's a huge lump of money, and which gains a crap ton of interest. But also, I assume Delphi, Indiana is not on the upper bracket of the median salary in USA and Indiana.
No, it's a very rural, very, I mean, working class. I mean, these are normal, just rural people, and they came together. I mean, there are, 5Ks, there are fun runs, there are bakeries and local businesses that
Mm.
have put money in. There were, T-shirts sold. This little town has come together to keep lights up and everything else for these girls, and they just want justice. And I'm afraid I am what I think would be the worst possible outcome of all of this is if we get to this court and this gentleman,
Yeah,
this has all been kabuki theater,
mm,
and everyone goes away empty-handed because things were not done correctly to procedure
yeah,
for some screwy reason,
yeah,
and
and
that will be upsetting.
yeah, and if just a minute part of the defense allegations are, because remember, the defense doesn't have to prove innocence. They have to insert enough doubt for a not guilty verdict. Well, nowadays you more or less have to prove innocence because
Yeah.
the burden shifting has been the last 5 to 10 years with the uprising in CrimeTube and true crime podcasts. Yeah, has, in my opinion, shifted the burden of proof from the state to the defense. But that's another thing that,
Well, and
yeah.
and I do wanna see what the state responds with. I'm imagining there's a lot of fiery memo writing, going on.
Oh, yeah, they have 136 pages to respond to, and they have more or less have to explain why did you not go by the lead of a lot of these things. But
So, I mean, it
mm,
it it does beg the question, if they can put to rest all of this, then, maybe the state does have something. The
mm,
biggest points to me, though, again, contemporaneously to the murder, you just had radio silence. You had
yeah,
radio silence. We had no idea how the girls were even unalived. I mean, there was speculation that they were shot or strangled. I mean, we had no idea.
yeah,
None. I mean, there was wild speculation that, again, we had another, West Memphis 3. Uh, I mean,
yeah,
there was wild speculation it was a cult, to be honest.
yeah.
What kind of
Yeah,
weirdo would have thought that?
yeah, what a weirdo. And that brings us to the end of that article. And now we have this article, which is again from WRTV, which is a good source. It's easy to, well, I tapped in Delphi Murders, and
Yes.
I got about 1,400 pages of
They're
articles.
pretty good. They're a
Yeah.
fairly good local balanced, they
Mm.
did hire Rafael Sanchez, and I do believe he might be the most annoying local TV host, allegedly, in my
Okay.
opinion only, but that's just me.
Okay. Copyright. Blah blah blah. Rewritten or this is, well. I'm no. This is fair use. We are
Yes.
bringing it up and we are discussing it. This is fair
Besides, if you
use.
didn't want your news read, then why
Mm,
publish it? You realize it's a dying art.
mm. So just for shits and giggles, this stream is about analyzing, commenting, and criticism, also known as fair use. Okay.
Alrighty.
Yeah. So now when that is, and this is Katie Cox, excellent writer. From I scoured a bunch of her articles, and I must say that from the limited amount of material, she does an excellent job writing. might try to contact her to see if she would be interested in talking about this. That would be interesting.
I wonder if she still works there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's find out.
because I'm
Oh,
just thinking we're in the
no.
past.
Katie worked for WRTV from 2016 to September of 2023. So she, oh no, she
We're gonna
just
have to
quit.
check her LinkedIn.
Yeah.
She's working Fox 59 now.
hmm And there are a lot of Katie Cox. And I don't want to, let's just say I need to have my safe search on as well. That was
Well-
not an interest in Googling. I need to keep my safe search on when I Google reporters' names.
It
My
happens to the
deepest
best.
apologies to Katie Cox for I know that's a real name, but it's apparently also used as an alias. My deepest apologies. I should not have Googled that name without safe search on.
Well, at least you didn't have.
I
you didn't
wasn't
have your screen
expecting.
share.
Yeah. At least I didn't have screen share on.
The hard-hitting news with everyone.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't expecting this stream to take this route.
When
But-
you're on with me, this stream will always take this route.
Oh no. Okay. That was a palate cleanser. But let's read from reporter Katie Cox. Delphi, Indiana. Police investigating the murders of 2 Delphi teens say they have interviewed more than 300 people and are still following up on thousands of tips from the case. And this we already know. Indiana State Police said Tuesday they have cleared more than 200 people that were identified as resembling the man shown in the photo. Okay. Yeah, man with goatee. Yeah.
Man with IT goatee. Everyone at Best Buy is a suspect.
Yeah. I mean, we know from the previous article that they have it. They had 500. Yeah. And here there are. I have to read this again. Interviewed more than 300 people. Cleared more than 200 people out of those 500 people from the tips, which is a man with goatee, which more or less means that in Delphi, Indiana, man with goatee is an adult man in that community. It's the standard face.
Well, to be yeah, pretty true.
Yeah. They also reiterated that to the public that no arrest has been made in the case.
So here's where you start. So go up and Ronald Logan. Now, Ronald Logan, I believe, is going to play a big part in the memoranda we're going to go through after we finish this little 4-part series. Now, I believe he's a big, because I believe his son is the one that Libby or Abby was dating. I can't remember. Look, I can barely keep up with who my middle daughter's dating.
Okay,
but
who is Dave?
Ronald
Burton?
Logan. So I thought it was
Okay, David Burston. Here he is.
well. So I believe he was reporting that Ronald Logan was picked up for a parole violation, not in connection with the case, because I guess someone was reporting that he was reported or was being picked up in connection with the case. So even back then, he was on the radar.
Yeah, I'm going to save his LinkedIn for another episode because I saw something really interesting there.
Ah.
Yeah.
Did it say in Odin we trust?
For another episode.
It said in closing, Odin is awesome. For the love of Cheetos.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Indiana State Police released a picture of a suspect, which was taken by Liberty on her cell phone. She also captured a man's voice saying "down the hill" during what police call criminal activity. You can listen to that recording and see the photo below. Okay. Indiana State Police, blah, 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 blah.
Oh.
And then, here you have a bunch of articles.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Reg Dunlap, you are right. I am sorry. I am coming off of a CRPS flare-up, so yes, you are correct. He was the man that owned the land. You are very correct. I do have a folder. I am coming off of a flare-up, so I am still a little bit off my game, but you are very correct.
Yeah.
I know that there is a Ronald. You're right.
And okay.
Brad Holder. Yes. Sorry, I knew there was a Logan somewhere in there.
Okay, so Ronald Logan was the old guy who.
But yes,
who they in?
He was the one who lied about where he was, because I believe he was driving on a suspended license. So he said that his friends drove him somewhere and they got him on driving on a suspended license, but they ruined that man's life.
Yeah. But he Burston says media reports connecting Ronald Logan to the Delphi murders is false. Probation violation, no connection to murder investigation. Okay, so this is the old geezer who owned the land. They were the kids were found at. Yeah. Brad Holder, Sunlog. Yeah. Thank you, Reg Dunlop, for this. The chat.
I need to
either on my side or on Mo's side.
I need I'm making a listagram or whatever those things are where you have a picture. I'm making a Biden list that he has when he goes, look, if it works for him, it can work for me. I'm making a picture and a doodad because there's too many daggone people in this trial.
Yeah. And for you in the chat, over at Rumble, on Mo's channel, my channel, don't be afraid to correct us because we have a bunch of cases and trials on our mind. And Mo has a puppy, which is always distracting. I have my asshole cat over there, and who will eat me if I pass away. I mean, he tries even now when I'm still alive. He takes test bites to see if I'm still alive.
So yeah, making sure you're still alive.
Yeah. So occasionally we get distracted and we may say the wrong names. So please never be afraid to correct us.
No.
And so thank you so much, Reg Dunlop.
Yes.
Oh, no worries.
We are working on being semi-professional. One day I will be almost competent.
And
stand trial.
I think covering this brings in two parts of this investigation. First, Mo, who has knowledge because she's local, and me, who, as a Scandinavian, which we will get on in the episode 4, the Odinist cult lead, which I have better than average knowledge about when it comes to the old Asa faith and the different groups who bastardize that faith. So I think we can, I'm going to go out on the limb and say our collaboration in this, I don't think you will find a better one within CrimeTube, True Crime Law Tube.
No. I mean, and I had actually never heard of I'd heard of you talk about kind of the Odinist and the more Nordic faith coming
Mm,
back, but I had never heard of
mm.
any of that in the Americas until this case. Really, I had aw,
Terror.
he's being nice for 5 seconds,
Yeah,
and we're videoing when and now as soon as you take it off the camera, he's going to turn on you.
yeah. I mean, look at this guy. Doesn't he look happy being on screen? And now, yeah, that is resting murder face. And now he will be pissed off the rest of the day.
He's gonna bring you a dead bird,
Or a
maybe.
dead baby rabbit or something else interesting. Uh,
So
yeah. Yeah, but yeah, so thank you again for correcting us. And see Slightly Pie and Vodka Blood over there on Rumble. So I know that there are some people over there. Please make yourself known. Leave a thumbs up and a follow over on Rumble so I can build up my channel over there as well. Thank you so much. But let's get back to this. Indiana State Police released a picture of a suspect, which we already seen, and this, yeah. Okay, let's go into this. Will be the final article, and which is one of the last articles in that immediate from the murders. And this is saddening to read. Some Delphi investigators return to home base, continue to search for murder suspect. And this is March 24th and March 25th. So about a month and a week later, 5 weeks later, people are starting to return home of the investigators. Delphi, Indiana. Detectives working to find the suspect who they believe murdered 2 teen girls in Delphi said the direction of the investigation will alter in the coming weeks. Okay, but they never said anything about it. Because I've been scouring it doesn't really say the investigation will alter, unless they mean they will go into from immediate to long-term investigation, maybe.
that's kind of what I got. I wasn't really into true crime as much, but looking back and what I saw, it definitely just seemed to go full on kind of radio silence, except for kind of puff pieces on anniversaries, when the oldest sister graduated, just
Mm.
reminders, kind of keep things every once in a while, they would play the audio clip again, you know, just, "Hey, kinda keep it in your mind," but nothing new ever really came of it, and so it
Yeah.
just it did kind of go radio silence. I mean, what the impression I got was that the state police were kind of helming things, uh,
Mm.
but, you didn't really see an FBI presence anymore, so I wasn't aware that the FBI was no longer on the case. To the casual person, I thought they were all still kind of in a commune kinda thing. Uh, and then a couple years later, I don't remember, it was 2 or 3, we got the different sketch and the
Yeah.
guys. But we would have these just long periods of silence where you didn't really know. I mean,
Mm.
we would get assurances every little bit, like, "We're still working on this, it hasn't gone cold," yada, yada, yada,
Mm.
but
Yeah, but that's for next episode, the silence episode, which will be tomorrow, where we will go more into the far few and far in between actual releases of information, and some really, really interesting facts about those released information. Let's continue here. With the help of multiple law enforcement agencies, a large number of the more than 13,000 tips submitted in relation to the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German were combed through over the past 5 weeks. This assistance has left investigators with a smaller amount of tips to handle. Some investigators will now leave to return to the home base to follow up on other investigations that was temporarily delayed due to the Delphi case. The main command center will remain in the Carroll White REMC building in Delphi, where investigators will continue to look through the remaining tips. Quote, "We remain committed to this investigation and the Carroll County and Delphi community until, quote, this evil, end quote, is eradicated. We are on board until the end to assist our fellow law enforcement brothers and sisters," said ISP Superintendent Doug Carter. ISP officials said those investigators returning home will still, quote, will still be within a phone call's reach and could potentially return to this assignment, end quote. Okay, these are a lot of quotes here. We are, yeah. Yep. Did you want to say anything?
Well, so I mean, this is all a big puff piece to say, hey, we're not doing anything, people, we swear.
Yeah. Yeah. This is code speak to we are now entering long-term investigation, almost into cold case territory, but with other words. We have been extremely blessed with the invaluable law enforcement assets and resources afforded to us the past few weeks in Carroll County, said Tob Lesenby.
I say Lesenby. I don't. Yeah. I need to watch more of the actual things because I'm fairly sure I'm butchering every single one of these people's names. That's why when I do Newsy News, I just highlight and say something foreign.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, y'all, I am not starting an international incident. I'm going to highlight it and say something foreign.
Yeah. We stress this investigation is ongoing and is not without resolve, as we will find those responsible and reach proper closure for Abby and Libby and their family. That's an interesting quote. Those responsible.
Yeah. Especially when Lesenby he's not Leggett, who has been very adamant that as one person. Lesenby was the one that said, hey, it could be multiple people. But Leggett has been adamant because he was the one that did the probable cause warrant, and he's the one that the defense definitely states, hey, he kind of finessed, if you will, the probable cause. But Lesenby has been a little more honest and said, hey, it could have been a couple people.
Yeah. Reminder, I see the viewer count has gone up a bit. Remember, hit the thumbs up so YouTube's algorithm promotes us. Go over to Mo's channel and subscribe to her and look through her videos on this subject for more of a deep dive so we can get her monetized. Okay, thank you. More quotes here. Authorities say they want people to know this action does not mean that case is going cold. During the investigation, a photo, this we already know, and a lot more. This is a good compilation of links we can explore later.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to a lot of people are getting frustrated with how little we were told. And how little things seem to progress, and then we get this bombshell dropped from the defense, and it does seem like there were some missteps made. Now, again, this is from the defense,
Mm,
so, taking it with a grain of salt, it still does seem like there were some things missed,
mm,
uh, and having read the probable cause affidavit, that seemed screwy from the get-go to me, but, you haven't seen that yet in detail, and I want you to go through that and
mm,
see your opinion on it, but that's the part that really got me going was when I saw the probable cause affidavit, because I was like, "Finally, we have caught the guy. Thank God.
yeah.
We have done it. This family finally has peace." These
Mm,
families, because I
yeah.
thought they were never gonna find this guy. We've gotten 2 sketches. I mean, we've gone through, like, murderer's row of all of the registry guys that look even partially like these. I mean, we will look up Daniel Nations, and I swear him and the sketch are twinsies,
Mm,
but in one of the episodes. So, y you had this overwhelming relief that they found the guy, and then my heart starts sinking as I'm reading the probable cause affidavit, and I'm like, maybe I'm looking at this wrong. Maybe I read through it a couple times and I'm like, they have nothing. This is my
yeah.
heart started sinking and I was like, "Oh my gosh,
Mm,
what is this?" Because I reached out to my local defense friend and I said, "Am I reading this wrong as a not lawyer?
mm,
This is nothing." And she said,
yeah.
"No, no, you're not reading this wrong." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh crap."
Yeah. And this must be around the time also when the sketch arrived. Of
Yes.
weeks or the coming days. So this is the first sketch, the person of interest, which we saw in the photo from Abby's phone, and by a witness testimony who saw a guy looking like this around that area at the time. So let's just see this. At the time, these were, according to the cops, a person of interest. And on next episode tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. Swedish time, we will go through the silence years, where scarce and much little information actually came up. So I would assume that episode will be interesting. I don't know the length of it, if it's an hour, 90 minutes, 2 hours, I don't know. But we will simply go through it all and see, just to make a basic understanding where we all are, because this case will be moving forward with the defense memo. But
Yes.
yeah,
I have
Mo.
not gotten any time period on the Franks hearing yet. Um, so
Mm,
the Franks hearing is where they will basically, I
mm,
guess, interrogate or
mm,
get to question the officer who
mm.
wrote the probable cause affidavit and the
Yeah,
witnesses.
but first the state will respond to this memo in some shape or form, and I would assume they will try to squash any type of Frank hearing, because under oath on the stand, probably, hopefully streamed, that's a different. That's all of a sudden all eyes will be on this case moving forward. Yes, we are still waiting for a state response.
Yes.
But what are your next appearance? Are you having more appearances today, Mo?
I will probably be doing I will be definitely doing the Newsy News at 7 p.m. tonight. I will probably be doing a couple short videos of just news I find interesting, but it's not quite funny enough or that kind of thing. I will definitely be doing a video on a possible link to this case, but it's tangential of the sort of firebombing of the Terre Haute FBI office of a former Westfield correctional agent that had links to Delphi, and they think it might be tangentially linked to Odinist. I don't know. This whole thing is weird.
Yeah, it's really strange. But yeah. With that, I will see you all here or over at Mo's channel or at Rumble tomorrow, 10 a.m.
Yes.
Eastern Time. I will send you off to Broken Baker's stream. MA versus Kararintala, day 9. That's an
Yes.
interesting. Is that a woman who is on trial for the 4th time?
Yes, the state of Massachusetts is not tired of trying to get this woman on murder. The
Yeah.
first lesbian couple, they want to.
Yeah,
They really want to get this woman in jail.
Yeah, yeah, and I know that Baker has said that for every piece of evidence they bring forward, he is less inclined to believe in the guilt. So I will send you over there, and do remember, go over to Mo's channel, watch everything she has ever done, give thumbs up, and subscribe to her. And I will see you all back here tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Yes.
Eastern Time. Okay. Thank you all for showing up. Thank you to my mods for keeping
Thank you.
keeping everything clean, and thank you to Annie L for becoming a new member. And yeah,
Awesome.
and Annie, you have now access to members only content on my channel, which is renovations on my farm and personal thoughts and stuff like that, and also access to my Discord. Okay. Thank you so much.
And thank you guys for coming.
Yeah, thank you all for coming. See you all around. Bye-bye.
Bye.